Okay, so Mithos back to cast another game brought to us by r/Dota2 Cast It. This is game 841196-079, submitted by Cryos3. It was labeled as Rapier Dodo, Teamfight Lineups, Unusual Picks, and 3 Rapier Dodos. So clearly he wants us to know that there are a few Rapiers going to happen here. Don't know who wins, don't know how long it is, but we do have a Captain's Mode game, and we are going to jump into the draft here. Not much to say before we see the first pick from both of them, or the first ban, I suppose. Radiant has first ban this time. We have I Am Edivhl, IMEDIVHL, drafted
Dire
Radiant,
team ban.
and Kaltz FIM, KLTZFIM, drafted for Death. First thing we see is Brewmaster ban and Crobolus ban, Death Prophet.
Dire
Then
team
Tinker,
ban.
and not sure who yet. This is not. No, there goes Ember Spirit. I was about to say that this is
Radiant
not the
team
normal bans we
pick.
see for this patch. There's the Invoker, Lycan. Then there was the Ember Spirit, which is kind of the more normal bans for this patch. I mean, all I can say right now is that these people certainly don't want to deal with these heroes. I can agree with the Death Prophet and the Tinker. They're very strong pushers. Can really force you to play a certain way to have to deal with the Death Prophet with her alt exorcism.
10
She doesn't
seconds
need
remaining.
auto attack damage, so popular picks these days.
5 seconds remaining.
Her alt does the damage it does. First pick up from the Radiant is
Dire
Faceless
team
Void. Not
pick.
entirely a surprise. Very in hero at the moment. Chronosphere, about a 40-second cooldown at max level, can lock down everyone in its area. One buff that most people don't realize is that Time Lock, his
Dire
bash,
team pick.
was buffed to do 2 times the damage when he's inside a Chronosphere. And yeah, that's a lot of damage. So in counter, the Dire will first pick up Rubik, their support. Not the best against a Void necessarily, because even if Rubik steals Chronosphere, just only one of 2 useful spells from Faceless Void, Rubik casting Chronosphere
10
does not
seconds
stop
remaining.
Faceless Void. In fact, it still helps him, because inside any Chronosphere, Faceless Void
5
gets
seconds
1,000
remaining.
movement and no collision size, so he can
Reserve
go over cliffs, he can
time.
go around units. So Rubik, if he decides to steal Chrono, will have to be very, very careful about when he uses it. I would have preferred to wait a little bit on the Rubik pickup, just because he's easily counterpicked, but he has to. He
Radiant
relies on there
team
being good
pick.
spells to steal, and that's not always the case. Faceless Void is kind of iffy. The second pickup from the Dire will be Dirge, the Undying. Can't say too much about this in combination with Rubik or against the Void. It's a good pickup. His Tombstone is very good for early ganks. Slows people down, does damage, and in
10
the Chaos at the moment,
seconds
not a lot of
remaining.
people think to just sit there and attack the Tombstone because they are taking damage. Radiant will
Radiant
pick up Ancient
team
Apparition,
ban.
which goes very well with the Void. If Void can hit, more than, even if he only hits one person with his Chronosphere, Ancient Apparition's ult can make it that much.
Dire team ban.
If Faceless Void does manage to hit 2 or 3 people, getting that the Frostbite
Radiant team
debuff
ban.
can end up doing a lot of damage, specifically if Ancient Apparition picks up an -7. 17 seconds with
Dire
healing
team ban.
and taking constant damage, dying, I think it's 12% sooner than they should.
Dire team
Go
pick.
back to the bans, Dire bans, much to be expected. Witch Doctor and Skywrath, both heroes that combo very well with Faceless Void. They can lay down their ults inside the Chronosphere, right next to the Chronosphere, and just do merciless amounts of damage while the enemies are held there. So, makes sense that Dire would ban them out. Radiant bans out Bristleback and Doom. Doom is another one of those heroes that I would have expected to
10
be banned out in the
seconds
first
remaining.
round. He is very good. He's very good against Faceless Void. You can Doom him
5
with his Chrono. He
seconds
doesn't
remaining.
do nearly as much damage. If you can Doom the Ancient Apparition, he can't get any of his spells
Reserve
off,
time.
which is, kind of the end of the line for a support. Bristleback, take it or
Admiral
leave it.
Tonka.
Probably a good ban because he's hard to focus down inside
Radiant
the Chronosphere,
team
but
pick.
he isn't necessarily game-changing if you know how to deal with it. Dire does pick up Kunkka. Again, no specific synergy to speak of, but he is a very good pickup. The Torrent and Boat and X-Marks the Spot can both be used against Faceless Void inside Chronosphere.
Lion.
Just to delay him a little farther.
Dire
Lions
team
is another
pick.
good pickup. With Ancient Apparitions, Vortex, amplifying magic damage, Lion's spells will hit harder. He is a support that comes online fairly early. I know he has some mana problems, but his Hex lasts for, I think it's 2.5 seconds at first level, and his stun is 1.5 or something around that. But he is able to hold people down a lot. And then when he gets
10
his finger
seconds
online,
remaining.
these heroes
5
like Rubik
seconds
and Kunkka
remaining.
probably will just melt. Undying has the chance, he'll likely build a Blade Mail. He'll get his
Reserve
ult,
time.
tank up a little bit. Lion might not necessarily be able to burst him down very fast. But the rest of the team so far has something to worry about in this Lion pickup. Waiting to see what they pick up next. Dire's dipping into their reserve time here. Still have another minute to decide, no rush. Split it between 2 picks and a ban. Looks like they're probably, Dire's very versatile. Kunkka can farm, he can offlane, he can go mid. Rubik, although it's a very old strategy, he can still go mid. They don't have very defined laning. That's probably to their benefit against this Radiant team, where Void, he's going to go safe lane farm. At least one of Ancient Apparition and Lion will be there in the lane, likely going to be a tri-lane. So Radiant needs a mid, and they need an off lane. Then again, Faceless Void off lane has been popular somewhat lately, although it doesn't get quite the farm he needs. By picking
Radiant
up
team
the Lich,
pick.
I'm imagining that Dire is going to have a tri-lane here. Lich's sacrifice is invaluable for keeping lane equilibrium back in a position where that team can control it. And if he's good enough about using it outside of the experience range of any of the enemies, it gives just enough of a lead in the early game that this Undying can get off some really nice ganks and have not too much fear while getting up to his level
Dire
6.
team ban.
Centaur Warrior, clearly going to be an offlane. He's very strong. Once he gets up his level 6, he adds a measure of mobility to his team that they didn't quite have. I know Faceless Void has his time lock, but the other two fairly slow heroes. And
10
Centaur
seconds
Warrunner
remaining.
can give them that stampede buff. Dire does
Radiant
ban out
team
TA.
ban.
They know that the Radiant needs a mid. With this lineup, I'm not certain who I would go. Maybe Storm Spear, just to give them extra initiation power, but that's something given to them by the Centaur Warrunner as well. So we'll wait to see what they pick up.
10 seconds remaining.
Dire, they have someone tanky, probably in the Undying.
5
I'm
seconds
going
remaining.
to hazard a guess that they need either a mid or an offlane, depending on how they choose to
Reserve
handle
time.
this. It's kind of up in the air. Still waiting on the last man of Radiant, and it will be a Viper. That is something that,
Dire team pick.
a lot of people find Viper very frustrating. His Q takes not very much mana, and it has an insane amount of slow damage that can prevent any mid-hero
Radiant
or any
team
melee
pick.
hero from getting even close. Not to mention the corrosive skin has magic resist. Our last pickups will be a Riki and an Invoker. Invoker will be their mid. That's probably a good choice for their lineup. And Riki, that mixes up my lane guesses a little bit. Riki may go safe lane and farm, have Kunkka mid, and then send Undying off lane. But we will wait to see how that pans out. For now, though, since this was a Captain's Draft game, I'm going to introduce our heroes.
Prepare for
We have
battle.
Sane on the Kunkka. This is for the Dire side. Something Stealer. Juok. I'm not even going to try it. I will screw that up. So Riki. We have Cults FIM, our captain, playing the Rubik with the new Harlequin set. I really do like this one. It's nice. We'll have Hakurai on the Lich. And we will have Kusufmo on the Undying. For the Radiant, nickname will be our Centaur. Looks like he will look to place a ward, maybe check the rune, and then go off lane. our captain will be playing the Invoker mid. Looks like he's at least starting with an Exort build, although he could be doing that for level 1 last hits and then changing tack after that.
30 seconds to battle.
Be Ancient Apparition. Sir Chewbacca on the Lion, and then a name in, I believe that is Chinese, although since I don't speak it, I can't say for certain. Playing the Void. We will have a tri-lane bottom against an Undying offlane. Rubik he's going to place a ward mid, although it looks like Centaur will spot him out. This could be bad for the
battle
Rubik, although
begins.
Undying won't check the high ground again. That one auto attack will give him away, but he's already on the way out, so there's no reason to chase. Ricky will be farming the top, probably with support from Rubik, who just picked up a double damage, and attacking this Centaur to Hoof Stomp first, and Lich also in this tri-lane up to the top. So we have a defensive tri-lane and a solo off-lane in both teams. Kunkka versus Invoker mid. We will see how this goes. Start out, looks like the supports on the Radiant are trying to hide from this Undying, although he doesn't have the ward there. We didn't see where they were, but he had just enough sense to get back so they couldn't catch him off. Lion, on the other hand, is trying to deward this magic spot here, which got both the big camp and the small pull camp. You know, I think can't figure out how to draw, but
First blood.
oh, I missed first. That's my fault. Trying to figure out the interface here. Not too much of a surprise. We had Ricky use his Blink Strike. Lich only has Sacrifice right now, pulled the lane equilibrium back, but Rubik did first pick Telekinesis, and it looks like they killed him up in the trees here, so no huge surprise, especially if they were able to block him in. First blood went to Ricky, which is amazing for the Dire. It'll get their carry, well, one of them, I guess Punk is a carry as well. It'll get their carry that much stronger, that much faster. He's going 2 Slippers of Agility, which is interesting. Gives him the agility to use his backstab and auto attack more. So we'll see what that does for him. I'm going to pull up the last hits and denies. Void, although it is only the first couple waves, Void is sitting at the top with 8. You know, free farm carry is not something you ever want to see on the other team. And Void is one of those that can take advantage of it a little bit earlier than most. But at least they are managing to zone out the Undying. He has 1 measly last hit. Better than the Centaur, but still not enough to stop this Void with his 12 blade. Back up top, Ricky's still farming. Rubik has picked up an Orb of Venom. Now that's not a normal pickup, because the range slow is only 4% and doesn't do much. Something I like to do when I'm playing support if I'm against a TA or a tree with living armor, but not a normal pickup for Rubik by any means. Lich is trying to deward, and it looks like this sentry is just out of range of that ward. They did place another one, but they didn't cut the right trees in order to be able to see it, so that ward's going to stay there for now. I'm not certain if this one blocks the pull camp.
I have seen the future.
I have to start paying
You're
attention. It is
not
on the Undying. Lion rotated in. He used both his Hex and his Earth Spike. AA has 1 level in the Cold Feet, so that was able to hold him there for long enough to get Void the kill. And that brings us even 1-1 in terms of kills, both on the major carries. So both teams looking about even right now. There's a little bit of an edge based on first blood versus not. But for now, both teams looking fairly strong. The tri-lanes winning the day against the off-lanes. Back in mid, Kunkka is sitting at 13-6 to Invoker's 9-0. Pretty good for for Kunkka. It is good. He has 3 levels now in the Tidebringer, but he is managing to maintain that lane equilibrium, denying a lot, which is very helpful. And he's nuking this Invoker down, who, while he is going Exort, had to take that 1 point in Quas in order to regen up from all of these Tidebringer hits. Undying coming around bottom. This is not the best position for him. Chilling Touch does give some extra damage at the cost of attack speed, but these supports don't attack very fast to begin with, so it doesn't matter. Another top looks like Telekinesis behind the creatures
when they hired me.
and was able to get the kill with the help of Ricky's backstab. Back down bottom, Void farming away. He has 1,200 gold, 1,300 gold. The question is if he's going to go for an item or he'll go straight for a Midas. I can see him doing it either at this point. His farm is pretty much uncontested with 26 and 14. Closest is Ricky with 23 and 10, as well as the 2 kills to Void's 1. So, still pretty much even. If we look at the experience graph, it is slightly favoring Radiant. That means their trial is being a little bit more efficient. But the difference in gold earned is surprisingly to the die. You'd expect that the Ricky would win the day in terms of gold. But the Faceless Void just took first place in last hits and denies. I'll go ahead and look at net worth here. Ricky at the top with Faceless Void and Invoker winning 2 out of the top 4 spots for their team. Tanks going, they're going to full speed. Sunstrike will come and be able to clean up the Undying. Another easy kill. Kunkka trying to check the rune, I think, except for the fact that it's 5 minutes and there's no rune. He will pop a double damage rune and use a bottle charge, so he'll want to go in on the Invoker. What he doesn't know, though, is that this Centaur is coming in from behind. And this Courier had he not gotten hit by the boat, that would have
Radiant's middle tower is under
very well
attack.
placed boat and got the kill. That is the first kill, I believe, that is going somewhere other than our carries. No, that's wrong. Invoker got the Sunstrike kill. So, back to farming for everyone. Undying takes part of the jungle. He's got 2 levels of Kushna, which is usually something you see if he's got a ganking build. I suppose it could work in the jungle, but this Undying had to leave the offlane because he was dying too much. Both of the Radiance kills were on this Undying, and he couldn't stand that any longer. Likewise, though, Centaur has taken the jungle. He has 1 point in return, which is not doing a whole heck of a lot with these mud golems, but
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
got it 3 TPs bottom, 4 TPs bottom, so we have all 5 of the Dire. Now, they're going to try to go in. They don't see the AA. He may reveal himself now. This is probably going to be a kill. 4 of them. Yep, that's Silence, Tidebringer, 2 hits. Tries to telekinesis the Void, but he has Time Walk. He actually has Chronosphere now, but he hasn't used it. They will spot out the Lion to use the stun on Ricky, but Ledge Ice Blast is slow him. Chronosphere didn't help him, didn't necessarily kill him, but Void is going to win very well.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
And now we have 5 on the bottom. 3 waves coming in. We are going to probably see our first tower down around the 7:30 mark. AA will TP top. He knows that this bottom lane is lost. Invoker has farm mid.
Radiant's bottom tower. Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
There it is, 7:20. We have the first tower down. And Invoker has Sunstrike and Cold Snap invoked. No real need for anything else right now. And he will pick up the Bracer, which I expect to be turned into Drum at some point.
Dire's middle tower
Ricky
is
has
under
his level
attack.
6, and the Dire
Radiant's
are
bottom
moving toward
tower
the mid.
is under attack.
Although the Radiant may have spotted that out based on this ward. Faceless Void is just going to go back to farming. Although Lion's invisible, he will see this gank, but it might be too late for Invoker with Ricky and Viz.
Dire's
Just that
middle
afraid to
tower
blink
is
strike,
under attack.
can't quite get to him, so his Invoker turns on the weapon, definitely get away. Lion revealed himself just to get the kill on Lich. Although
Radiant's
he
middle
doesn't
tower is
quite
under
get
attack.
well played from Dire, although that is Dire is still holding 3-7 with Ricky and Kunkka.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Faceless Void not too far behind, only 500 behind Kunkka. He does have his 1 kill. It's the 1 death probably that did him in. Gets a couple denies there, and he's going to go farm the jungle. As Kunkka comes down to pick up a double damage rune and refill his bottle. Invoker diving for
Dire's
this Lich
top
kill
tower
very
is
low.
under attack.
AA doesn't have his ult, or that would have been a dead Lich, and they had to disengage because diving behind the towers gets nothing. 3 in the mid.
Dire's
versus
top
2.
tower is under
Nicely
attack.
placed hoof stomp. Double A. Centaur line will get newly picked up Stampede. Chrono comes in from
Dire's
Faceless
top
Void
tower
and
is
Sunstrike
under
gets the kill on
attack.
Rubik. They will run away from each other because Kunkka can still command them. Lion drops the sentry, and they will go back to killing the troops then, although it will run out before they get the money. So a very well done 0-0 0 for 3 for the Radiant. And top lane, they're diving for Lich again. Invoker, you need to run. Ricky's coming in. Still no ultimate from Ancient Apparition. This could be the end of him, I would expect, unless he does some fancy footwork here. Sunstrike will whiff. Rubik picks up Invoker and he throws a Fate Bolt, and that is a dead Invoker as well. So on the back of that, 0
Dire's
for 3
middle
for the
tower
Radiant,
is under
it
attack.
0 for 2 for the Dire. They retain the lead 6 to 9. With 3
Dire's
living
bottom tower is under
Radiant
attack.
heroes still farming. Lion taking the mid, Centaur and Void trying to share at one point in return, doing a little bit of work for these Centaurs. Well, Centaurs versus Centaurs. Not sure the Dota 2 mythology would like that very much, but looks like Dire will take the mid tower. Radiant tower
Radiant's
count
middle
up to
tower
2,
has fallen.
and the Radiant's tower count is still at 0. Ricky scouting out. He doesn't know there's a sentry ward here, so Lion can see him just barely. But Chronosphere is not up, and Void doesn't have mana anyway. Tombstone dropped, or Void will use Time Walk to get away. Completely disengaged. They can't go out of this middle lane right now. Tombstone will only slow them down. Rubik waiting up on the high ground, and Ricky waiting there as well with his permanent visibility. Hunka throws a nice tornado. This will kill at least 2. Good tiebreaker. There you go. And Centaur will die inside of Ricky's smoke.
Radiant's middle
Ancient
tower is
Apparition
under
comes
attack.
in a little bit too late.
Dire's
It's nice
top
to know
tower
he has it.
is
That
under
would be
attack.
very helpful to them if they can get their act together right now. So far, this is probably a tier 2 unless Void he does have Chrono.
Dire's
Use it as a delay
top
tactic.
tower is
Maybe
under
kill the
attack.
Rubik. Rubik is retreating, and this tower
Radiant's
is not
middle
well
tower
defended.
is under attack.
Lion TP's in behind. I'm sure they see him. Void is
Dire's
silenced by
top
Ricky.
tower is under
Can he get off
attack.
Chrono? He doesn't want to. He's going to back out. Sunstrike. I didn't hear if it hit, but Lion uses his first finger of death to get the kill on Undying. And Invoker's a little bit far out, but Radiant is going to push forward. Although Ricky eats a tango, remains invisible with the buff to his ult about 3 or 4 patches ago where he can use items and spells to remain invisible. Dire will disengage and run back towards their Ancients and their tier 1 tower to defend. Experience still pretty much even. It's about 500 in favor of the Dire, although I think that is close to nothing. Cold Snap on Undying. Ancient Apparition ult to follow. Will hit Ricky, but he has enough health to keep him
Radiant's
back off.
bottom tower
It will
is
do
under
the thing.
attack.
Sunstrike. Not. That must have been a stolen Sunstrike from Rubik, and indeed, he just used it. Neither one connected on anything, so kind of a zero-sum game here. Gold, we are still favoring the Dire, about 5,000, which is not substantial, but
Radiant's
enough
bottom
for this
tower
early,
is under
early
attack.
phase in the game that it is giving them the advantage. Take a quick peek at our items here. Invoker has his phase boots and bracer, Iron Branch in the stash. Void, already that Void has gone in. Sunstrike killed on Ricky. Ancient Apparition on flies. Will not connect any hero, but Rubik is running away. They had Undying use Solar on him, and in the meantime, Dire gets a kill on Invoker and Ancient Apparition and Centaur, while Void is off chasing, leaving his team behind. That is a 1 for 3. At least the one was Ricky, so there is some benefit in that, but still not a very good trade for the Radiant. Left them on the back foot as the Dire push comes in again and looks to take his first tier 2 tower of the game, while all of the Dire tier 1s still stand, so that's good for them. Void has picked up a Mask of Madness and Power Treads, so he's building that attack speed. Retains the poor man's shield, just a little bit of extra protection. Ancient Apparition, all he's got is boots right now. Centaur has Tranquil. We have another engagement here. Lion will stun. 2 Sunstrikes come out, 1 from each team. Ancient Apparition will connect, but on no
Radiant's
one in
bottom
particular.
tower is under
Rubik
attack.
escapes with a stolen Time Walk, and Undying goes to man fight Void and runs for the rest of the Radiant. Lich had already thrown his ult at some point. Rubik ended up on the back. I'm guessing Lich's ult with a Tombstone will slow down the rest of the Radiant and maybe prevent them. Undying, why are you working again? That is a bad idea. Undying gives up his life, but in return,
Radiant's middle tower
So,
is under attack.
just as I said it was looking bad for the Radiant, they come and get a 3-for-1. Good trade for them. they're still in this game, although Ricky is
Radiant's
pushing the
top tower is under
Probably
attack.
won't get it this time, but next time it is certainly a possibility. Give an item check for the Dire. Rubik has a bottle as well as arcane boots, and still that casual
Regeneration!
What purpose that's serving. Both will whiff for Kunkka. Invoker will get away, but then goes right back to farming. Kunkka has phase boots as well as a claymore that will turn into, well, could be either a Battle Fury or a Shadow Blade. So, correct, yeah, could turn either into a Battle Fury or Shadow Blade, not too much way to know yet. He does have drums as well. Faceless Void picking up Ogre Club briefly, it's on the courier now. That will probably be either a BKB or an Ags, depending on what he thinks he needs. Ricky has 2 Blades of Alacrity. That will be a Diffusal Blade from him coming out after his Ring of Aquila and his second Wraith Band as well as Treads. Undying doesn't have much to speak of. Gauntlet of Strength and an Iron Branch will probably turn into the Bracer.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Chronosphere 4 from the Void. Sunstrike will come in and Ancient Apparition all will help create 1 kill, 2 kills, but in return, Void will go down. Mask will up. No, Lich brings him up with Ice Blast. Stolen Chronosphere from Rubik.
Radiant's top tower
can't
is
do a lot
under
of
attack.
damage, but it's enough. They clean up 1, they clean up 2. That is a 3 for 2. So, average trade. Not too much benefit either way. It's probably a little more favoring the Dire because they got 3 versus 2, and they will be able to take out this tower.
Radiant's top
soon,
tower
if
is
not
under
this
attack.
wave, if they can stop it, get by it. Lion comes in, tries to suck some mana off the creep. Not enough. His Tranquils will regen him up soon,
Radiant's
but
top tower
he
is
can't
under
do
attack.
much to stop this zone. Kills death. Ricky obviously kills for Ancient Apparition ult to fly. Lich might die from this. It's going to be close, but no, I think he will survive. His Tranquil's not eating much
Radiant's
yet.
top tower has fallen.
Oh, wow. Sunstrike just off the mark. So, no extra kills. They had saved that for a little bit. They might have been able to get Kunkka, but they missed. So, they can't. Void coming back. 40 seconds until Chronosphere's up, and they are letting Ricky farm bottom. He has his Diffusal Blade recipe up. It's only on him when he wants to bring that on the courier, using Backstab to get some of the creeps. If we take a look at Vision, there's no Radiant Vision past the river, and the Dire Vision is only slightly so. So pretty much even on both teams. You know, supports taking their time getting support. That here both will catch the Invoker, Tidebringer, Decay, and Invoker is dead. So 1 more kill to add to the now 20 kill total of the Dire.
Dire's
And
top
Lion
tower
Ancient
is
Apparition
under
will
attack.
retreat from the
Dire's top tower has fallen.
Threw a sentry out preemptively because they knew Ricky would be coming, but for now they just need Void to farm. And he has 100 gold, and the fact that he hasn't bought something tells me that he is probably building a BKB, saving up for that Mithril Hammer. He wants to be able to use his Chrono and attack unmolested, and this could be a good opportunity. Now, the Radiant doesn't see at their Ancient. They do now because of this ward. If Void wanted the Chrono in, he'll catch. Well, he doesn't want to use his Chrono yet. They should be able to get through without it, and they do. Ricky's hiding in his smoke. He isn't revealed again because of that buff, but he will run away. He doesn't want to fight. There are 4 or 5 of the Radiant team. Despite their lead, they still can die. They will come up the river now. Lich's ult is back up. He has a mech and Tranquil Boots, so he's not necessarily the tankiest, but he will stay alive based on sustained damage and be able to help his team stay alive. Torrent flies in on the creep, Void, no boat to follow, just some slowing down. Ricky jumps in, a smoke down, Ancient Apparition hits on him, Lich ult flies, doesn't get anyone. Boat catches Ancient Apparition, too late, his ult's already gone out, and Void might down the backside of his tower hit. Ricky blitz to him and gets the kill. Kunkka is hit by the cold feet, and now these Forge Spirits will do some damage, but not enough as he uses Shadow Blade and gets caught in the ice wall trying to move forward. Invoker, Centaur, Ancient Apparition, Lion disengaging as fast as humanly possible. They see these heroes coming down on them and kill. Fate Bolt flies, Decay. There comes the mech, and they're going to push in for this tier 2 tower. Again, this will be the first tier 2 tower down.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Especially not with Void. They get paid Chronosphere. Sunstrike flies.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen. Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
That he won't throw one up there, but the 5 heroes of the Dire are standing right outside, deciding what they want to do. They'll rotate bottom, try
Radiant's
to push
bottom
in this creep wave,
tower
get
is
another
under
tier 2 tower,
attack.
and increase their map control advantage. Again, taking another look at items, Undying has an Eagle Song. That's an interesting one. I suppose the choices here, you could be building a butterfly. There's a Chronosphere. It will land on Ricky and other people. The Sunset come in. He tries to kill it both. Stuns enough. They just get one kill. They go for others. Sentinel stampedes. A stolen Chronosphere from Rubik hits multiple, but doesn't stop Void. And he is going to get another kill. Void's going to whiff. And comes back and kills. Undying, unwise to come back in because he has a that does get the kill on
Furl your sails but good.
and Rubik pursues out the ancient apparition with a Fade Bolt. Undying kills on Lion. And now could be one kill at 2, but no. Split with Kunkka and the Creep. So none of them die. Undying gets healed every time a Creep dies in his AoE. Well, his ult's gone now, so that's not true.
Radiant's
But
bottom
at that
tower
3-for-1,
is under
they
attack.
will clean up this tower.
Radiant's
more
bottom
points than
tower
West.
has
Tornado
fallen.
could get that Kunkka kill, but won't do that. Kunkka will TP home safely into the fountain and heal as Ricky starts to walk back out. His Diffusal 1 in hand, already 1 charge used, and an Ogre Club, which will be a BKB. Ricky doesn't have a Scepter upgrade available to him. Ancient Apparition ult flies, won't hit anyone because although he was trying to catch some of the the fleeing heroes, they all TP'd back if they had low health, so he missed. Centaur goes back to farming. He has a Blink Dagger now, so that is a good thing for his initiation. It won't be too little too late. It's only 16 to 24. The experience graph is about 5,000 in favor of the Dire, not a whole lot, and the gold graph is 11, 12,000 in favor of the Dire. That is substantially more. Centaur ult used just to disengage. They do have a lot of wards right here in this area, and so they knew that the Dire team was coming and they used Stampede. That was going to be my guess. Undying picks up an Ethereal Blade. Very strange pickup. Not something I think I've ever seen before, but if he can land a couple of good decays on 3 or 4 heroes of the Radiant, the changed Ethereal Blade that does damage based on your primary attribute has made it a viable, semi-viable item on people like Pudge or Undying or Silencer that can get up a lot of primary stat. Previously, it was just agility, and really it was a useful item for Morphling. Now it has come into use for especially that is a very good boat, although Time Walk will get him out. Could die, but he's far enough away that the Dire won't be able to get him. X-March spot goes on Lion, stun, doesn't matter, because he's not used to that Fear Blade, and Joker, wow. Blink Strike, Ice Blast, Frost Blast, excuse me. Ice Blast is Apparition's ult. It flew, didn't really hit anyone to speak of, and 2 for nothing in favor of the Dire. Do another torrent, no one there, no creep, so kind of just a warning shot, I guess. Tombstone runs out, creep spawn, and we start pushing out again. Void has Chronosphere up. He doesn't have another component to his BKB yet. He will get it in another 75 gold if that is looking for, which is my guess. Centaur has a blink, he has a chainmail and Robe of the Magi on the side, which should be a blade mail if I'm not mistaken. Or he could go for something else. Ricky waiting in the wings, invisible. Again, hasn't picked up the news since last time. Kunkka goes back to farming. With a Demon Edge and a Chrysalis, this is going to be probably a Daedalus within the next 5 minutes, certainly, if not faster than that. Void goes and picks up a point booster. He's going for the instant bounce ult that he gets via Aghanim Scepter. Definitely a good pickup for him. Meanwhile, Rubik still holding on to that casual Orb of Venom. You go, Rubik. He has picked up a Blink Dagger, and he has a Staff of Wizardry. Could be an Ags. Oh, I hear Cold Snap. The Joker's going for the kill on Undying. Centaur Stomp.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Silence, but figure that will fly. Which ult will go? Void is able to get 1 kill in Chronosphere. He may be not getting bad.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Radiant go straight to pushing the enemy on this tower. Kunkka can only do so much with that. He is good against pushes in. They're hard to push against him.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
But at this point, it's him versus 5. And I don't know. Even with this data list that he just picked up, I don't know. He does. Doesn't get a crit, but he does do some damage.
Dire's
Tower
middle
goes
tower
down.
has fallen.
Hex goes. Ancient Emperor's not hit him. He's probably dead. I'm not sure if that was the best decision. He did some damage, slowed down the tower, but in the end, all he did was kill himself. As Ricky TP's back in, and Radiant is gone. So again, if we take a look at the vision, Ricky puts down a smoke for no particular reason, probably for the mischance so his creeps don't die as much. Take a look at the vision. There's one word for the Dire on the Radiant side. It's a very good one because it does get you the rune spot. It's a very good early game ward, not too bad later, and it tells you if someone is farming the Ancients. The Radiant's vision, not particularly better. They have one ward on the other side of the river, which gives them full vision to the middle lane, but that is not a whole lot. They do have another ward on their side. This is the one that saved them earlier, allowed them to stampede out. Also would allowed Void to jump in with Chronosphere in that last fight. So, although not the most common ward you think of, it has done work for them. So, that is good for the Radiant. We have both teams grouping up middle. Kunkka TP'd back in. Looks like Dire wants to go for another push or maybe take a stab at Roshan. There are no wards around Roshan, so neither team can be able to tell if the other one was. Radiant will throw down a sentry just to see if Ricky's coming through that path. And Kunkka will try to go around the tree, stay goal, and they've cleared the wave and want to push in. Let's take another look at items here. Invoker does have his 4 staff and another Ogre Club, so again, that could be a BKB or it could be the start of an Aghanim Scepter on him. It could be either one, I'm not certain. Void has finished up his BKB, so that's good for the Radiant. Ancient Apparition is 3/4 of the way there. He needs 1,000 gold, so he probably just picked up that 3rd piece. And he's carrying dust just in case. Centaur finished the blade mail. Torrent puts on no one, and the Dire retreats. All Lion has is the Tranquil Boots and the Force Staff. Fairly standard. He's been the warding support. Kind of, not necessarily the punching bag, I guess. Invoker and Centaur have died more than one. But he has been a support, kind of giving up his farm for the Void. Who, all things told, could probably have more, but since they were behind by 5 kills, not necessarily bad. Rubik has finished up Mana Boots, has his Blink Dagger, as we talked about earlier, Staff of Wizardry and Orb of Venom. Kunkka finished his Daedalus right before that last fight, and his Shadow Blade. Ricky, nothing new. Undying just finished his Mana Boots, and we still have a mech and a point booster on Lich, looking like he's going for his Aghanim Scepter. 5 Dire
Radiant's
on
top
Ricky
tower
will
is
blink
under
around the
attack.
trees, and we're pushing in toward the tower. I don't know if Radiant much know about this. They're smoked up in middle and coming around. They will be popped by the Rubik, but they can't see him. Yes, they can.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Stomp, double edge, dead Rubik. Once the zombies slowed him down, and that the Ethereal Blade will stop attacking, and the silence will stop him from casting. Wrong way. He will get picked up and make some space for the rest of his team.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Chain Frost will go. Invoker splits and doesn't bounce anywhere. And 3 remaining Dire heroes. Ricky gets some farm in on the Centaur camp in the meantime, using the smoke for the mischance. And they place a ward just to be able to see where the Radiant's going. And the answer to that is back to middle. They may catch a glimpse of it with this ward, but that's going to run out soon, so I wouldn't count on it. Void pops his Massive Bad as he goes back to farming. He has 1,700 gold. At this point, these days, most Voids would build a Maelstrom Mjolnir. Older time builds would have been a Battle Fury probably, but it's pretty much up to him what he wants to do. He could go crit, he could go attack speed, pretty much anything that will help him kill heroes and Chronosphere. If that means an Aghanim Scepter, so the Chronosphere has a lower cooldown and a longer duration, that's kind of normal too. Kunkka bottled up a haste rune, sitting mid, waiting for his team. Dying. 1 GG branch, 1 Iron Branch in reserve, and is just chilling bottom, getting some extra farm, and hoping for a rune here. Although his team will get it regardless. Rubik misses, well, it's in 30 seconds, so he walks right by it. Bottle, still 2 charges, so he doesn't necessarily need it. This dire ward, the Radiant doesn't know about yet, because their sentry is, well, probably not quite twice the range, but they don't know about it yet. So they're spotted out. The Dire know that this camp has been farmed. And Kunk is back to farming. So while he's sitting on 1,800 gold, we have not too much from the Radiant team to speak of. Lich still could be...
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Still be finishing his Aghanim Scepter. He's about 400 short of that. We're gonna have an engagement with a cold snap. Void will go in. He gets the kill on Undying. Doesn't even need Chronosphere. Lay Ancient Apparition on the spot, and Rubik steals Hex. Not the most impactful spell, but at the right time, it could do wonders. At this level 3 that he stole lasts for 3.5 seconds. Chronosphere lasts for 4.5. As long as Rubik doesn't get caught in Chronosphere, between Hex that he just stole and the Telekinesis, he could completely disable the Void. Now, that might lead to his death, depending on where his positioning is, but it could be very helpful to his team, as he may not die when they are all in Chronosphere. That's what happened. Kunkka is on the wrong side of the fight. He's farming up Mud Golems, but the Radiant doesn't know, and he's going to come in. His team just warned him, and he went around the other way in Shadowblade. But he's going to come back in. Ricky is going to try to blink. Kunkka sees 2, maybe 3 of them, and he's going to back off. Although Radiant does see him, they have these wards, and they do nothing about it. I think they know that it's dangerous as Invoker TP's out and leaves them with only 4 in the middle versus
Dire's
the
middle tower is under attack.
Rubik blinks up onto a cliff, hoping to catch them by surprise, but the Radiant is already left. Nobody knows about Roshan, they haven't taken it yet, and there's an illusion rune sitting right outside. Dire's warding has gotten a little better. They've moved up so they see 3 of them, they see the courier, they know that Void did just pick up the Maelstrom. Radiant, they do see the mid lane here, based on this ward that's about to expire, and so they know that the Dire just went to the top, dropped another sentry. That sentry will find it. So, we have the Dire moving to the top, they're going to group up as 4, leave Kunkka in the middle, maybe he'll follow them, and they'll take this wave and try to push the last remaining tier 2. Rubik steps forward, drops another sentry just in case. He does still have Hex, steal another spell. But we have finally all 5 of the Dire on top. Lich sacrifices to get himself a little bit more mana, maybe time. And again, right now, only a Centaur and a Lion. Enough to stun them out, but not really enough to kill anyone, especially because all Lion has.
Radiant's top tower is
Finger
under
of Death
attack.
is good.
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
Last tier 2 tower of the Radiant falls, and Dire just retreats. They know they don't need any more. Pushing in, give Void the chance to Chronosphere all of them. Those massive
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
He'll be looking to pick up that Void Stone, excuse me, that Hyper Stone next. He needs about 1,400 more gold if he wants to finish his Mjolnir and then grab the rest of it. Lich is going to TP bottom, try to stop this Invoker, who will TP out at the same time, but Lich can't stop it.
Dire's bottom tower has fallen.
Invoker has his BKB, picks up another teleport scroll to replace the one he just used. Invoker bottles that illusion rune for lead. Radiant has dropped these wards, well that was a while ago. They still don't know about this ward. Good news for the Radiant is that it's going to expire soon, so the Dire won't be able to see that, although they could just buy another ward. Lich buys his Ogre Club, that leaves him about 1,500 away from Aghanim Scepter, if indeed that's what he's looking for. Probably is. Line smoked up, gets the Hex off on Kunkka. Not being Finger, Lich is there. Fly, don't need it to get Lich. Diamond died from the fall. Right? On the backside, can't blink out, will get bashed by Void, and that is currently a 3 for 0. They also get the Tombstone. And at this point, if I were Radiant, I would move into Roshan, and they do. They will be careful, so they drop a sentry just in case Ricky comes back to steal, but I don't think he will. He knows better than to go in 1v5, especially if they probably had protection. Hex, Roshan is now a gigantic frog. This will be the first Roshan of the game. I'm guessing they'll give it to Void. He has an extra slot. He also has 2,000 gold, so he could walk right over and pick up his Hyper Stone for this fight. Kunkka, he has boat off cooldown, but Centaur zone out. Otherwise, he would have thrown Vote and Torrent and maybe tried to...
Roshan has fallen to the Radiant.
And Ricky finishes his BKB while that's happening. Centaur blinks in, and not that they have anything to do, but they will pick up an Invis Room and retreat. At this point, if I were Radiant, I think they need to push in. They need towers. They are, at this point, ahead in experience. They've brought it back, and they're ahead by about 3,300 experience. Still a measly amount for 35 minutes into the game. That's pretty much nothing. Maybe a level or two. If we can check out the hero level chart here. And Undying and Ancient Apparition sitting at the same level. AA did just get level 11, so he picked up his level 2 ult, which is actually a big increase from the 11% or 10% to 11% kill threshold and 12.5 to 20 damage. And in the meantime, he has finished up his Aghanim Scepter, so that is a very scary Ancient Apparition. Meanwhile, Rubik picked up Time Walk, good initiation skill for him, and he also has a 4-staff recipe, just waiting to pick up that Ring of Health. Excuse me, Ring of Regen. 3 people on the Dire, 3 heroes on the Dire, all sitting at level 13, and we have 2 at 14 for the Radiant. So Kunkka will top out the level board at 17, not really outstripping the Radiant, who have the
Dire's
next
structures
4.
are fortified.
But Dire will fortify for no particular reason. Must have been a misclick. While Rubik goes into the jungle to try to get that last 100 gold he needs. Undying goes top. Still, all he has is the Ethereal Blade. He has 1,250 gold. He might be saving for buyback or trying to build, you know, a Shiva's Guard or a Blade Mail. Looks like we're going to
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Put the end to see how that changes. As also tops that. I heard a BKB on one side from Ricky. He's going to try to get the kill on his Lion. The Centaur ult negating the Diffusal Blade, but he will die after Rubik telekinesis him from the other side. As Void takes some damage mid, the Mask of Madness not helping as it gives him he takes more damage when he's under.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Just to delay pushing so they can get back a little farther. So one for nothing in favor of Dire. We have brought ourselves back
Dire's
to even
top tower is under attack.
So at this point, it's anyone's game. Goldgraph has come back only about a 5,000 gold lead in favor of the Dire. That is closing from the max 13,000 they had before. Still their advantage, but not anything drastic. Kunkka goes ahead and picks up a second Daedalus. Guess he's looking for that burst damage. They know that if they can get these heroes down quickly, then they can go through. Otherwise, you give the Invoker the chance to cast more spells, you give the Ancient Apparition all time to take them down. They will probably lose, but if they can get these burst damages in, then they have a good chance. Lion still doesn't have a lot of money. You know, he picked up the Sentry Wards. At this point, a lot of players would be looking towards a Scepter to get that AoE, Finger of Death, and the extra range and cooldown and damage. But I think what he needs to do right now is exactly what he's doing. He's picking up the wards, giving his team the opportunity to see the Dire. If Void can see someone before they see him, and he can get a Chronosphere off, that could be what turns a fight. They do have the Aegis. It will expire here in, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, probably another 2 minutes and about 15 seconds, if that. They still could probably get aggressive right now. Void could pick up his Maelstrom, or excuse me, his Mjolnir recipe and his Hyperstone. But for now, they're just going to wait because they see this push coming in mid, and they don't want to go in preemptively. Tombstone's blocking the way and making the push more difficult. Rubik will activate that illusion rune from earlier as he picks up a double damage, as well as, I'm not certain at this point why he hasn't picked up his 4-staff, but he has 880 gold, but if he wanted to. The illusion will come in. I hope for their sake they don't jump on it. They see and they think it's too good to be true, probably. Lich waiting in the wings. Kunkka has used
Back so soon.
X marks the spot. He also picked up a Blink Dagger. I think I missed that earlier. Gives him the option to X marks the spot, which lasts 6 seconds for allies at this level, and blink in, use his Tidebringer, throw a few spells, and then come back as desired. so that he is safe.
Back
not
so
eliminating
soon?
the team. Void could have gotten
Dire's
a
middle
tower. He'll
tower
think
is
better
under
of it.
attack.
Let's take this tower and back off. Vote to go. Good BKB from Void to
Dire's
prevent
middle
that.
tower
Decides
has fallen.
against using currency right now. Centaurus comes in, stomps, double edge. Can't kill the Lich. Mech goes. They won't engage that first one with whiffs, and the silence will prevent the stolen time walk gets out. Lich ult takes a few unfortunate bounces on the creeps and will leave Void getting away. Centaur ult to disengage, and Lion will just barely get out with the TP, although no one there had a stun and able to stop him. Did I just skip forward? I think I might have just skipped forward. At any rate, I'm going to back up a little bit because I think I just screwed up. Well, I apologize for that. We are back to a disengagement with 3 dead from the Radiant. I will try to recover from that. Kunkka at this point has a relic, so maybe I'll go back a little farther in order to check where we were. Really do apologize for this. I think this is a good place to start. We have
Dire's
probably
top
right
tower
after
has
this
been
engagement.
denied.
We have the tower being denied by Kunkka, and he's blinking forward, trying to push out the top with 2,500 gold. Really, it's interesting that they put it down there. I wish I hadn't misclicked, but I guess I can't find it. If I check the XP graph, see if I missed anything, it has gone in favor of Radiant, although come back down to 2,500. And the gold graph is pretty much exactly where we were before. The 5,000 gold lead for the Dire, which is nothing. Void's Aegis at this point has expired. He does have 4,700 gold. And he will be looking for a kill around here. Invoker uses his phase boost trying to get around. Stun on Lich, Sunstrike, Stomp, Double Edge, Finger of Death gets the kill. Ancient Apparition will fly. Kills Rubik. And then Meatball comes down and kills Undone. They will get the tombstone as well and look to push in. And Void could finish up his Maelstrom, his Mjolnir, but hasn't. Kunkka TP's back home and Ricky is out bottom. Without a TP, he has a Javelin, so he's looking to pick up either a Basher and MKB, that will remain to be seen, but he is walking his way back. Rashawn respawns in seconds. We do have a Pike pickup.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Centaur Stomp. Centaur's gone. Pops the blade mail, but now the Radiant's just pushing. Ricky blinks in.
Dire's structures are fortified.
Gets hexed.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Original flies. But Centaur at this point has just gone in. Blade Mail does not do anything for Ricky.
I'd have done that
Lion
for free.
killed by killed by Kunkka, probably a Tidebringer on the backside. And now we have Dire pushing out. Sunstrike complete whiff. Was that? No, it wasn't stolen by Rubik. He was dead.
Regeneration.
Kunkka still topping the leaderboards. He just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. He has picked up his relic. I guess we already knew that since I screwed up the timer a little bit. Maybe it's going to be a raid, one of these 3 rapiers that the submitter here talked about. That would be certainly an interesting sight to see. Don't know if we'll have a push coming in mid from the 4 present heroes. Ricky go back in mid. Meteor falls.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
He could at this point. He gets definitely blast. Will miss because Kunkka uses Blink Dagger to get out. And Void actually picks up a Scepter rather than finishing his Maelstrom. Although I guess he could pick up a Hyperstone. Kunkka going back to farm Ancients has 1,800 gold. He will need an MKB to finish that Divine Rapier if he wants to. So he'll go back to farming that up, while Ricky does pick up the Basher, maintains his Wraithman from earlier in his treads. She could switch to Agility, but I guess he wants that little bit of extra tankiness in order to be able to survive some of the spells coming out from the Radiant. Lion gets the mana off that range creep before Lich sacrifices it. Stomp, Sunstrike, Double Edge. That combo has gotten so many kills this game. And well, Cold Snap will secure it from Lich. If not, there it is. That one last attack is also just about a 40. Tombstone will get him, but he's still able to get out of there. Undying once again making use of that Hero Blade, but he will pick up a Yule Scepter. It's an interesting choice. You'd think if he got the Hero Blade he'd want more strength, but I guess he needs that mana regen in order to be able to cast the Decay to get the strength. So we're back to, well, Void taking Rosh. He can do so pretty quickly. We are at 0 difference in the XP here. So hero levels, we should be pretty much even. Yeah, that's what it looks like. Hero levels, pretty much exactly. Difference in gold earned, still hanging around 5,000 to 6,000 mark for Dire. Again, that's not a whole lot to speak of. And then kills, we're at 31 to 30. Dead even game, I would say. Although, even though in net worth, Conquer does top the chart by a substantial margin. About 5,000 versus the side. This will be the Radiant's first or second Rosh. I know it's the second.
Roshan has fallen to the Radiant.
He'll pick up the Aegis and get out of there, as Dire knows they can't even contest it. Ancient Apparition in turn picks up Yule Scepter, which is good for him because it makes his cold feet hit pretty much guaranteed as long as the other person doesn't use a BKB. And Kunkka finishes the Divine Rapier. And he is going 1 crit, 1 Tidebringer, and back in. Void wanted to get the Chrono on him, but what he doesn't realize is that this X marks the spot lasts for 8 seconds, and Kunkka has a Blink Dagger. So he can go really far forward, and if you don't kill him within the 3 seconds that he's there, he's just coming back and he's going to heal up. So that's probably the state of things right now. I know it's going to be really hard for the Radiant to push in against this. Warren, both,
X marks the
spot. Right back out. Even if they finish him, they'll just be leaving. So, good move for him on the... He has to play very carefully now that he has a Divine Rapier, but it looks like he is set to do that. Take another look at the items. Let's see if we have anything interesting. Ricky picked up his level 2 Diffusal Blade. Lich still working on that Aghanim Scepter, 1 component away, about 500. Rubik has stolen the Meteor from Invoker, which should probably be doing a substantial amount of damage because he is max Exhort at this point, trying to go for max damage rather than the utility. And we have 3 Aghanim Scepters up on the Radiant side, 1 for Invoker, 1 for Void, and 1 for Ancient Apparition. The pipe is on Centaur, gives him that little bit of extra
Dire's
HP
bottom
regen
tower
and
is under
magic
attack.
Resistance, which is probably a good thing, especially against Kunkka. That crit, 1600.
Welcome back.
Who could that kill? That would be enough to not quite kill Invoker, not quite Void. It would one-shot the Ancient Apparition Centaur, obviously. Well, interestingly enough, Centaur has less HP than the Invoker and the Void. So Centaur would be right on the hairy edge of what could be killed by that that 1 crit. And then Lion, of course, with his measly 960 HP, would be dead in an instant. We will have the Radiant grouped up bottom here, except for Invoker TPing back to base to pick up an item, I would imagine. Otherwise, I'm not certain. They don't need to defend right now. They really need to go in the aggressive if they want to stop anything. Although, you know, the ball is kind of in Dire's court right now, I would say. They have the Divine Rapier. The Radiant knows about that, and they don't want to get too aggressive. Otherwise, they could fall victim to something quite unfortunate. They're going to try to push mid. Well, Invoker and Centaur are anyway. Centaur picks up his Sign, which could probably, my guess is going to be a Heaven's Halberd, just to disarm that Kunkka. So, unless he doesn't have a BKB, so he may need one if they try to disarm him, which, again, my guess is what they're going to do. Lion, under guise of an Invis rune, walks towards the middle. He's going to get hit. There's an unfortunate cleave, but he was well behind it. Going to try to catch up the Lich, but they've already retreated by this time. The game has quieted down somewhat. Both teams are kind of in a standoff. Lion pops his Invis rune by putting a ward in base, and there's no gem and no sentries here on the Dire, so they don't know about... They might have seen him place it, but they're not doing anything about it quite yet. So, again, back to the stalemate. Radiant pushing in. They have a little bit more pushing power other than, obviously, the Kunkka. But Radiant's just pushing in with the Forged Spirits, and the Tombstone is preventing them from doing that. They are both teams wasting time right now as they could be getting experience, with the Void Not sure why he hasn't finished his Mjolnir by now. He may be saving for buyback. But at this point, the Dire knows enough not to clump up so they can't get chronoed, and the Radiant knows enough not to push in, because they're going to get crit by this Divine Rape from Kunkka. So, we return to the stalemate, and he pushes in. Meanwhile, there's a haste rune top, and top lane is pushing in for the Radiant. Bottom lane looks like the momentum is in favor of the Dire. But for now, we have a Mexican standoff. Wait. Broker uses the Lacry on the force here, trying to get some extra chip damage on the tower. If he had gone, you know, in a more initiating build, well, at this point he has enough in Wex, but if he had gone Tornado, he might be able to disrupt things enough to avoid to get in there and get a chrono on the few. Crit from Kunkka, another 1600 damage. Luckily for the Radiant, none of them were in close enough to get hit by that. But he has another 3,000 gold, so Radiant should really be doing something while they have this Aegis. Void is an okay Aegis carrier. He won't have Chrono or BKB or Mask of Madness when he comes back up, because I'm assuming he'll use those all before. But he probably wants to do something in the minute before this Aegis goes away. He really wants to do something. Rubik steals Alacrity and blinks his way back out. That is really dangerous. And then that happens. He crits down the entire wave. If they can get any measure of lockdown, Tombstone's on cooldown for another 50 seconds. That's unfortunate, but if they could get the Tombstone out a little bit farther, then Rubik picked someone up, Lich slowed someone down, Kunkka could just do more. Undying did pick up his Yule Scepter of Divinity, one of my favorite items in regen. Very useful for most of crit. Wow, look at that, so much damage. Invoker and Centaur both have to back off now, and the stalemate might have just ended, because they can't deal with it. Invoker will go back. He should probably put on Quas if he wants to regen, but he might just go home. And he'll TP home because he doesn't want to die. Dire Shark pushing out. Kunkka, crit. Just pushed all these waves out.
Double damage!
Rubik, I'm not sure. Rubik has drones, so going a little bit of a different type of support than most people would. His Orb of Venom's still there. Can't say much more about that. Lich has 200 gold, still his Mech and Aghanim Scepter, and Ricky hasn't picked up anything. Has turned off the Aquila Aura. That's probably about the time of game where you want to turn it back on. It really doesn't do a whole lot. It pushes the lane unnecessarily early, but right now you probably want to push in, especially if Kunkka's going to be going. There's a Tombstone. It's going to slow down. Well, 4 staffs out, so not too much. Lion gets more wards from the Courier and 1,000 extra gold to do stuff with. And this Tombstone will die. Rubik looking for Rosh. Won't find it yet. In about 55 seconds, we'll know when he'll respawn. But at this point, there is no Aegis on the field. And the next Rosh has Aegis. So, Lich going to farm some camps and Ancients. He probably wanted to do the unlimited ult trick where he stores a few in there. Unfortunately for him, the mini dragons are not immune to magic, and Ricky will pick off Lion on the backside with one use of his level 2. So Centaur picks up his halberd. That's to be expected. Gives him some measure of evasion, so also gets the benefit of that. We'll see if it actually has an effect. In the meantime, we don't have any new other item pickups. Void sitting on 3,000 gold. Is there anything on the Courier? No, there isn't. Kunkka uses another X marks the spot and melts a wave before pulling himself back. Void could still be finishing another item. You know, at this point he could even buy Boots of Travel. He could buy an Assault Curious. He could buy... Well, he did get a crit, I suppose. That's where 1,000 of his gold went. But he is sitting on enough money that will allow him to get a buyback, although not another item. Invoker, again, not much bigger. He has 7,000 gold. His buyback is 1,500. Not sure what he's waiting for. I think at this point, he could safely pick up a Hex. I think he could flat out buy a Hex, and that would be invaluable to his team. Aside from the Heaven's Halberd, Hex Kunkka, he won't be able to attack at all. And you could silence anyone with the use of a Hex, so that's what I would favor for Invoker. Even an Orchid would be useful, and wow, the poster did not lie. There are 2 Divine Rapiers on Kunkka. He is now hitting for upwards of 900 damage, and I'm not sure if that's sustainable for the Radiant. If he keeps using his X marks the spot, and there he is, the Radiant is just gonna die. There you go.
The
And
devil
now,
to
if he
pay.
crits for 2,400, he can one-shot any single person on the Radiant team, and that's just what he'll do. No really stopping him at this point unless you lock him down in Chrono, and we'll take this playing carefully enough for that not to happen. We do have Rashawn back. It wasn't a very slow respawn, so we'll have another Aegis and we'll have Cheese. I imagine you need to give that Aegis to Kunkka. You need to get that Aegis to Kunkka somehow so that he doesn't lose these 2 Divine Rapiers. Although, to be fair, not sure what he would sell for it, because at this point, he wants to be able to move. I guess Blink Dagger gives him that, but he wants to be able to move, and he needs these 2 crits and these 2 Divine Rapiers if he wants to continue with his current strategy. Undying, pressing forward, they don't have an observe reward, but he does scout out nobody and gets killed by facing
Dead.
wood.
Then we can
So
meet
this is where
face to
the Dire has to be really, really careful. They smoke in, and they could catch 1 or 2. Rubik will probably be the first one to reveal this if they go into Rock. Absolutely. They will know. Maybe they won't. Void doesn't. Void does get out. He did come back out. This would be a great Chronosphere, although Kunkka is already back as well. The Apparitional whiffs completely. Alacrity phase on Void, and he is going to go in for nobody. He's just going to retreat out because they don't want to meet up with Kunkka. That is almost certainly the one and only reason that happens. Invoker's dead, and he buys back almost immediately into the game, using up 1,500, 2,000 gold. He still has 5,000 to his needs. And they'll go right back to mid. I'm not sure what they think they're going to accomplish here, but they need to kill that crit. He missed the, what? I'm not entirely certain what happened there, but I guess the Radiant won't be complaining about it. They took no damage, so my guess is that somehow he missed his attack. Maybe he tried to attack Centaur in the Heaven's Helmet. That would probably prove that it was all worth it. So this, he waited too long to pull himself. So Void is going to go in and try to finish up Sean. And at this point, I don't know what he's going to sell either. So maybe he'll have Invoker sell a team to pick it up, or Centaur, or literally anyone else. But I think it's most valuable to Void at this point, because he is there. Gary, he's the only one that has a chance to kill him. Before it misses, boat hits on with the pipe, but it won't kill him. The blade mail is there, and the force having to get him out of the way. Dire does have a lot of vision.
has fallen to the
Right in
Radiant.
this middle lane. They don't want anyone sneaking up on them. And Void takes up. Team toss. It will bounce, but they will be able to split in time. They kill the Lich, and it wasn't worth it. The Dire retreat, and it's back to our stalemate. Although these 4 wards are making sure that nobody is going to be sneaking up on the Dire at any point. They'd have to get a gem to deward all of these, because at least 2 of them is enough. But we do have
Radiant's bottom
Void doesn't
tower
have to
is
pick
under
up the
attack.
Aegis. It is Invoker. There you go. Invoker sold his TP and picked up Aegis. That's probably a good choice because he has a Scepter and his cooldown is only 2 seconds on that Invoker. So he will be able to use more spells when he's back, but not if that keeps happening. Kunkka critting down for 2/3 of his health.
Radiant's bottom tower is under
Blade
attack.
mail. This is looking... It's even 33-33. XP is in favor of the Radiant. Gold is in favor of the Dire, but we have 2 Divine Rapiers and 2 Daedalus' on Kunkka, who's level 25. He's still hitting for upwards of 900 damage, 930 some if I'm not mistaken. And that is a lot. Excuse me, taking a drink of water. We will have Invoker probably going to die. Ricky is going to blink down on him. Silence and backstab. Cross blast. That is a wasted Aegis, and he will probably die again unless he can get bad. Rubik's here. Wow. Centaur ult comes and saves him. The Dire turns around prematurely because they expect someone else there. And Void is coming in, but he would not have been there in time. Current gold. Void is sitting, well, he just bought something. He used 2,000 gold. So he bought a Daedalus. And so now he's going to go pick up... Yeah, there you go. There's his Demon Edge. He bought a Daedalus, so he's going to have crit. Still has 2,600 gold, which is enough to get his buyback in case he dies. Do we have a buyback status? Kunkka, Void, Undying, and Ancient Apparition. So carry and a support on both teams. That's pretty much best case scenario for both of them, because if any more had buyback, these fights could start getting out of hand. Some of them, it's because they've used it recently. Invoker will only one of them. Some of them, they don't have enough. Most of them, they don't have enough money. And Dire will regroup because they don't want to go too far forward and lose these two rapiers. That would be game over. I would imagine they'd have Void pick one up, and they'd have Invoker pick one up. Void might drop his BKB. Well, no, probably not his BKB. I don't know what he would do at that point, although he would be doing a lot of damage. Kunkka still probably what's maintaining the pace of this game, because Radiant can't afford to push into him. Rubik stole Earth Spike, which is at this point 2.5 second stun, which is enough to lock someone down for a while. And he was facing the wrong way. Creeps walked past him and Tidebringer back towards him, which is why nobody got him. So he could be doing more. Rubik again steals the Time Walk. Good initiation spell. Crit, Undying saved Centaur here by putting him up in a Yule Scepter. So you can thank Undying.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Courier doesn't have anything on it right now. Must have just brought someone an item. Kunkka is going to go clean off this bottom lane with one swing of his. There you go.
Back to
He
Paul.
gets so much money for that. I would not be surprised if he is the one to pick up this third rapier, although it might be Ricky as well. Here, Force Staff. Radiant's just kind of chilling. Crit again. Oh my! Combination of Ethereal Blade and a crit on Centaur.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
His Tranquil moves are real quick back up. Stack away from the road, and we're back. Rubik time walks out. He's going to try to get something, but he's kind of out of position right now unless the rest of his team comes to him. Tombstone will kill the push, and Radiant will back off a little bit, but not a whole lot. XP still favorable. Now it's favoring the Radiant a lot. They're up over 12,000. That's probably just from chilling out here and Kunkka being the only one who gets experience on his team. But he is already level 25, so he doesn't need the experience. Net worth graph, different than Gold Earner.
Dire's bottom
Dead
tower
even.
has fallen.
33-33, 16 minutes into the game. This game is dead even. The momentum is in favor of the Radiant. The Kunkka is in favor of the Dire. We have, does Rubik have Time Walk? I think he does. Rubik has Time Walk, he's trying to get around, and Kunkka kills another wave. Rubik scouts out Invoker, Invoker scouts out Rubik, and we're back to killing waves, and the Dire is sitting inside of their base. So, another spell stolen by Rubik. This time, he gets Alacrity. Something, you can give it to Kunkka again. And he will probably do that right before Kunkka does his next X marks the spot excursion. They did bring up a sentry to deward anything that gets put here. And here, actually. So there's that going for them. And Kunkka cleans up another wave as the Radiant sits right outside. This is actually kind of, in one sense, is benefiting the Radiant because they are splitting the golden experience between all of them, where Kunkka is just getting it. But they're also just waiting around while Dire is getting buyback. And this is, you know, a fight could go either direction right now. So they probably want to go one of these times, they're going to have to do something. One team is going to have to do something, otherwise we're going to sit here for, you know, for however long, because Kunkka can keep this up. He can just keep using his Tidebringer on the wave, and they'll keep dying. Rubik Alacrity himself, faithful, he's going to try to clear this wave, and he's going to be successful. Had they let this, it's about, I don't know, 10 ranged creeps. Got another crit coming in. This time, no, Centaur only got down 30 health, and Blade Mail didn't actually do a whole lot to cover. So. Which throws the Frost Armor on, another crit, another no heroes hit, and Void returns to farming bottom. Sitting on 47 gold, still hasn't picked up any new items. I strongly suggest that he pick up Mjolnir right now, but hey, he doesn't seem to want to. Kunkka just crit down Invoker. The one time I turn away, and his crit actually hits on someone. Invoker does have the extended death timer because he bought back last time, so it's another 80 seconds before he's up. This is a chance for, well, we don't know if Rashawn's up yet. There's another minute before we see the extended timer. But this would be a chance for Dire to push out. They down Invoker, who is a major counter pusher. And of course, he does have buyback, but that's only going to make his respawn timer next time longer. When you know it is one crit to get him down. Kunkka sold his phase boots. He has 9,300 gold. Could this be our third rapier? I'm going to take a wild stab at yes, especially if he goes to, he's going to walk, he's going to blink. I don't know what he's doing right now, but he could be going to buy the third.
Back so soon?
Nope. He X'd himself back before. He walked a couple too many times, but he's probably going to go buy the third relic right now. And that is something to fear. There it is. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. We have 3 rapiers,
Double damage!
2 crits, 2 Daedalus, Daedalai, and a blink. This is one farm Kunkka. If you look at his net worth, he's sitting up at 35,000. His gold per minute is it only at 607, but that's just because we've been sitting here in a stalemate for so long. He's undying uses Superior Blade on Void to stop him from farming, but that really doesn't do a whole lot. Void's crit hits for 1,000, and he finally finished that meal. So Void is also something to be scared of. Not the same burst damage that this Kunkka can do, but if you let Void get in the Chronosphere, any hero stuck in that up to probably about 2 or 3, they're going to go. And that is what the Dire is afraid of. Invoker picked up his Hex, still sitting on 4,400 gold, but he's finally picked up the Hex, which could very much help against the Dire's team. In terms of other item pickups, Ancient Apparition has picked up a Ultimate Orb. That could go anyway. I've seen Ancient Apparitions pick up Scotty just to keep it inside his cold feet, but that could also be Lincoln's Sphere. Really up to what he wants, what style he thinks is useful. Nothing new too much here. Oh, wow, there you go. Crit down the Centaur. This is exactly what can happen if you're not careful around this Kunkka. As I was saying, though, Rubik has picked up a Mystic Staff. He could be going for a Hex of his own, or a Shiva's, but probably a Hex. Kunkka doesn't even need these crits, although he's critting for 3,000. He could just Tidebringer the wave without crits, and he would do, what's that, about, I don't know, 1,200 damage? That's a lot of damage. His regular Tidebringer without crit is illusion. Who still is sitting on only a 4-staff and for Rashawn, it will be back in about 20 seconds, 15 seconds, but they don't know that. All they know is that he's not back, and so they're going to walk around for a little bit, hopefully catch sight of it. But the Radiant knows exactly where they are thanks to these 2 wards, and they will go back to farming. Up, crit. Oh, he did manage to get away. He'll put on Quas to regen back up, but Invoker does have 2,200 health, so as long as Kunkka doesn't get a crit, he'll survive. Same thing with Void, although Void could backtrack any of it. It's a long shot, but he could. Here we go, Kunkka moves forward. He will almost get the Invoker. Invoker will 4-staff away, so he doesn't blink on him. Probably a smart move. Thing is here, Kunkka has the top spot in net worth. The next 3 are all the Radiant. The only problem with Kunkka is that he has burst damage. So if we could get this, if the Radiant could get a fight going on for longer than, you know, the 2 seconds it takes for Kunkka to cleave, they would have a very good chance in this fight. Hero level, excuse me, we are evening out here a little bit. We have 125 in the Kunkka and then a 24 and a 23 on the Radiant. They have the next 4 highest levels. Ricky only level 18, although he still has his Basher. He'll probably be looking for an Abyssal Blade next just to get that added lockdown. But he is trawling the jungle here, looking, see if he'll go for Ancient Apparition. No, I think he knows better because there are other heroes around. And the Radiant, with a double damage on Void, are going to move into Rashawn. This is not a good idea necessarily. They'll see that he's there, but if they're all together, Kunkka will crit. Here we go. They found the X and they killed Kunkka. 2 rapiers.
You become
this could either be GG or that will back out. 3 rapiers now on the Radiant side. Chain Frost will fly, but they will split, and then Lich will die because he's dead in the story. Picked up by one by Ancient Apparition, 1 by Centaur. Rubik stole Chronosphere and puts it down, catches 2. Kunkka tries, but can't quite put the Centaur and will get hit by the arm. A good Lion Stun hits on 2, but Void is a bash, he does get one
Blood
more
in the
crit
way.
and knocks out the Void. So the 3 rapier holders are still somewhere else, and Dire hasn't been able to find them. This is a chance to turn it around. They know it's coming, but look at that. His net worth dropped to half. He is now at 1,700 where he was at 35, and he is going back to heal while Centaur, rightly so, uses Stampede to get the 3 remaining members of his team, the 3 rapier carriers, to safety. Ancient Apparition, probably the most farm you will ever see in Ancient Apparition. Rapier, Ultimate Orb, Aghanim Scepter.
Radiant's top tower is under
Ricky.
attack.
He's going to try to go pick up his team. They know where he is because with the creep wave. They don't have detection. I don't think they have detection. They do not. So they won't be able to find him in this Ghost Walk, not to mention the fact that it makes him run even faster at this point because he has almost max Quas and Wex. Meanwhile, Centaur clearing out this wave top with his Rapier. He's looking pretty scary right now too. I mean, it would probably be a better item for him to have a heart, but you can't complain about a Rapier at this point, especially if you know that someone can't. Sean is now a gigantic fraud thanks to the stolen Hex from Perfection. Ancient Apparition on the fly, it also might actually kill Resistance. Now, an Aghanim Scepter, 17-second ult, TPing back will not help you Kunkka. It doesn't let you heal. And at least he won't lose the gem, though. Rubik also will probably take down here. One last one. There you go. Nice skill from Ancient Apparition, who Scepter doesn't, or excuse me, that Rapier doesn't help him do that, but he just created a little bit of space for his team. The Void has boosted travel and will come in, and we have